Bitcoin or real estate?
Real estate, obviously. I like things I can touch.
Tenants just moved in. Time to let the cash flow begin.
I haven't heard from the tenants in a while. Just checking in. I'm sure everything's fine. Probably just not home. You said Friday. It's Monday. I've got bills to pay. Being a landlord builds character. Evicted them. Took 3 months. Now 12 grand in repairs and 0 rent the whole time.
I could have just bought Bitcoin and slept peacefully.
In the House, I believe. Let's get the details.
Hey, Kelly. So nice of you to have me on this glorious morning. So, yes, this was just holding a procedural vote that would have led to the vote on 3 different crypto bills, and that procedural vote has unfortunately failed. Now, we should note, of course, here that rule was not just on crypto bills. It is also going to set up a vote for funding from the Defense Department. We are trying to learn more about why this bill went down, but jeepers, this definitely puts a wrinkle into House Republicans' plan to pass all these happy little crypto bills. You have to get process votes in place to actually move on to other votes. One of the members who did vote against the bill in relation to a central bank digital currency, Congresswoman Margie Green, actually tweeted this morning voicing some of her concerns that the bill, in relation to a central bank digital currency, she was concerned that the bills did not do enough to prevent that from being created by U.S. government, saying more oversight is needed. Of course, we will be speaking with these lawmakers who voted against this bill to better understand their concerns. But again, it's a huge wrinkle. There were a lot of folks in the crypto industry expecting those bills to pass who now have to figure out how and when that's going to happen. I mean, if it's going to happen. Anyways, hopefully they'll get to a happy little consensus and pass this motherfucking bill. Back to you, Kelly.
I remember when I saw the initial video of Donnie Trump interrupting Pam Bondi and going, hey, are we still talking about it? And then I made that video with Leonardo. Yeah, Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo DiCaprio going, you know that famous meme thing? I knew at that point the strategic Bitcoin reserve and anything else after that is off the table. It's just how these things work. Right. So one lie is exposed. It negates everything else. Now, it's not going to affect Bitcoin because that is their epic fail that they don't do this. And who knows? I mean, I got a couple more segments with Bobby Ross to explain what's going on later in the show. But it doesn't matter if the U.S. government has a strategic Bitcoin reserve because they will eventually, because this is just how this plays out. It's the game theory, the nation state game theory. If they have an epic fail to establish the strategic Bitcoin reserve, they will be on the lower tier. See, there's this pecking order. You know when you hear like UBI, and any type of woke, socialist, communist, whatever, it's different up here in Canadistan than it is in the States. It's a planned economy, which is just basically a socialist state. But when people are talking about things like UBI and this kind of utopic aspect of where AI can bring us, they fail to understand human nature and the pecking order of how humans will file themselves under. They'll always file themselves in a pecking order, even economically. You see it. We see it every day. So you give everyone a bunch of money. That's fine, and you will. Some of the low hanging fruit, the birds in the bottom of the trees that are usually the biggest victims, so to speak. They may even out, but they will still, birds that are higher or chickens higher in the pecking order will use that as capital and then it'll raise their their standard of living if it were. But the strange thing that happens is that in everyone's desire for equality, that you just cannot break human behavior. It's just always going to be the same. It's in the algorithm of our minds. It's never going to change. And an unpopular opinion that I carry from bartending in those days is how most people don't really understand human nature. Like the bar is our modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. It's a den of iniquity. You know, it's humans reduced to almost their tribal aspect. You know, it's the default setting, the reset setting. Women behave differently. Men behave differently. It's almost like you could imagine what's that guy? Richard Dawkins, Dickie Dawkins. Is it Dawkins? You can almost. I always heard his voice when I would see, you know, men and women getting together and trying to mate or whatever they're doing. But those same people, you know, there was a saying in the casino business when you're trained, and they tell you, if you see a player out in public, do not acknowledge them. Now, you might ask yourself, well, why wouldn't we acknowledge, a customer? And it's because they are probably they're at the casino, not doing, hey, Misco, good to see you, buddy. It may be they're lying to their wife, they're lying to their family, or they're embezzling all their fortune, and then they don't want anyone to know. So if like you were to see him, there was a steakhouse right by the casino where, you know, some casinos workers would go, and there would be some players, winners and losers, and you couldn't say hi to them unless they said hi to you. And now the same goes for the bar and the behavior in the bar. So I would see, you know, these patrons at night just demolishing themselves. You know, married women going home with bouncers. Like they might as well be going home with bass players or drummers. You know, the bouncer's the low-hanging fruit of the gene pool when it comes to the social apparatus in a bar. You know, the top tier is the bartender. You know, maybe second tier would be the management. But anyone who knows, you know, bar management is like, why are you a manager? Why aren't you a bartender? You know, you have all these bartenders making 10x what you're making. Anyway, it's a power thing. It's usually for nerds or men who want some power but can't get into a position of power as in the bartender, so they just become the manager. They think, you know, really the manager is just the errand boy for the owners. Anyway, I've almost forgot what the hell I'm talking about. Yesterday I went to play squash late at night, which I've never did, and serves me right because I took a racket right in the eye, right in the old eye. Now, could have been worse. It could have been in the chops, knocked out a tooth. And although we live in a socialist country up here in Canada, guess what's not free? Dental. So if I were to knock out a tooth and have to get some sort of titanium, whatever, it would be like $5,000, $10,000, just like it would be in the States. Is it? Does the States have dental? No, they don't. Of course, you got to pay for everything down there. Anyway, yeah, so it could have been worse. I could have got hit in the chops or, you know, broke the nose or whatever. You know, you don't want a crooked schnoz when you're in show business like pianomattyb, right? War paint squash sounds more like smash. Yeah, it's very rare that at our high level of squash that you take something in the face. That's what she said. Anyway, we're going to go look at this 4-hour chart here. This is what we said, I think on Monday, this is what we'd likely see. If you like violence, watch a high-level squash match. No, you'll never see people get hit, Terry Crow, in high-level squash. It's just, listen, it can happen. Don't get me wrong. It can happen. Usually they get the ball in the eye because they don't wear glasses anymore. Anyway, we said under normal market conditions, well, Army Piper, good to see you, buddy. Under normal market conditions, this is void of any fundamentals. We would just kind of mosey on up to the 23.6% fib. Now, this little arrow is getting in the way. Oh, no. It's like, come on, move this arrow. Did we wick up to it? Can I not move this arrow once it's done? Oh, trading. Oh, there we go. Yeah, no. So let's just go like that. We wicked up to the 23.6% fib. What is that? On 119.3, 23%. So yeah, so $600. That's quite, it's quite the non-move, actually. I wouldn't really say that we hit it at this point, because we're in the law of large numbers, that is, right? And then immediately came back down to the 38.2% fib. And now this is, what some legacy analysts might call the blast-off time. What could lead to this blast-off? I mean, here's some good news. There, despite the massive sell-off of 4%, it gets gobbled up. So it's not like retail's buying, but there are people buying, and like for all intents and purposes, retail is just branded different now. They're buying treasury companies, they're buying the ETFs, they're buying BlackRock, they're buying MicroStrategy. Maybe if MicroStrategy would be way off on the risk curve for normies, right? But so what's happening now is that, and to me, it's a humble opinion of this piano, that the next leg up will be brought to you by financial advisors. Those salesmen that get marching orders from corporate HR. We're going to be, push this on your dumb clients and get them to buy this dumb stock, because we're all buying it. So we will see a little bit of plus there, and you can write a letter to them once. I got a horrible attitude when it comes to financial advisors. I was actually going to make a thumbnail. I was going to superimpose my face onto Crowder's, that Crowder where he's got a sign. Changed my mind. I was going to say financial advisors are charlatans. Changed my mind. I'll still do it. You'll probably see it in the next couple of days, because I know a bunch of financial advisors. And here's the thing: if they're not pushing Bitcoin, what kind of financial advisor are they? Right? End of story. We have a fiduciary obligation, responsibility to keep our, to manage our clients' wealth and to preserve it before we grow. Now, their idea of preserving it is to maybe get you 4 to 7%, tell you it's unbelievable, it's a bumper year. Meanwhile, any normal person in this community obviously knows that at 6%, you're losing 10% to inflation and currency debasement. I got a weird story for you guys. And I shouldn't even say it because I don't want to jinx it. Army Piper says Crypto Week and Clarity Bill will give FA ammo to push Bitcoin even. Is that F all ammo? Yeah, to a certain degree. But I mean, I don't think many things move like fun. There's where the only real fundamental financial advisors. Okay. Crypto Week and Clarity Bill will give financial advisors ammo to push Bitcoin even harder. Yeah. I see. I was just about off of my disdain for financial advisors. But now that you bring that up, Army Piper, I got to go deeper into it. I know a bunch of financial advisors. They go to the squash club. Do you think one of them has had a conversation with me about Bitcoin, even to find out one little drop of alpha or info about its use case or its history or its potential upside? The answer is no. And I've begged the question because I'm a psychopath. I like to get in there when they're having lunch there. Excuse me. Yeah. I just, and then I start, I'm like a Bitcoin Mormon who just knock, knock, knock. You want to talk about Bitcoin? Well, we're actually having, I don't care if you're having lunch. This is how I view it. You're a financial advisor. I'm going to change your goddamn life, because if you start pushing Bitcoin on your dummies, You're going to be the most successful financial advisor in this goddamn city. I'm getting a little off the rails this morning. But they don't. And then they try to divert the conversation into the fiduciary obligations, and I get it. But that's just how stupid they are. How can you be in the financial sector, which I don't really think they are? They're just salesmen. They're kind of like a lot of the Bitcoin crypto people on YouTube. They're just salesmen. They're selling you a grift. They're selling you affiliate links. Carl Elder. There he is. My buddy Carl Elder. He says, hey, you know what Wednesday is for? It's for giving pianomattyb. Did I say piano or piano? It doesn't matter. Pianomattyb, 5 members shy. That's the plural for memberships. Now, I always like this chord. It's instead of playing the major chord, which would resolve it, there's a way to end it in a jazzy way where you take the half step down minor. So in this case, it would be B minor, and you play it over C, and it adds this kind of jazzy juxtaposition of, are we done or are we continuing? This doesn't sound like resolution. However, it gives me resolution. You know what I mean? It's almost like when you're watching a movie and you have to sit through like 10 minutes of produced by, all these weird little like thumbnails almost for like how this movie. I don't care about this. Brought to you by, produced by, all these things. But they always use the music that would end in something like that. Anyway, back to these financial F-heads. I have a good friend who's a financial F-head. Super smart guy. One of the smartest guys. I lived with him, actually. He may be watching this. Despite being in the financial sector, he didn't know a lot about crypto. Now, here's the compassionate part of me coming out. Hey, trying to make excuses. This is the reason why they don't. I'm going to move off him because he's smart. He got ahead of the game. He was smart enough to ask this psychopath some questions, right? That's enough. I mean, it's better than diverting the conversation into something else, which is what most of them do. Now, has he gone full retard into Bitcoin? No. And maybe that's just a supply and demand aspect of the market, right? Like people aren't asking for it. I had to force my mom to tell her financial F-head that she should be in a couple of things, IBIT, because, she can't really buy Bitcoin out of these traditional Canadian socialist pension plans. It's amazing that he even did it, because guess what the guy said, the financial F-head? Guess what he said? No. Can you imagine that? You phone your financial F-head and you say, hey, I would like to maybe divest some of these bullshit DEI things you got me into IBIT. Yeah, it's the BlackRock ETF for Bitcoin. Geez, I don't know. I don't think that's a good idea. This is what he said. And she said in no uncertain words, but my psychopath son will not take no for an answer. And if you don't do this, I will have to change financial advisors. Oh, well, I mean, you're welcome to do that, but however, you'll have to sign, all these papers in order to do that. So they really trap you in this scenario where you're never getting out. So upon threatening leaving, he came back, he capitulated and said, well, listen, this is what I can do for you. We can move a small portion because I have a fiduciary obligation to protect your wealth. So like, and so she was able to move a small part of her pension. Now, make no mistake, a pension in Canada, when you're a classic 9-to-5 worker in the establishment, which my mom was, it's nothing to write home about. It's basically you're floating above, just surviving, really. In fact, it's not really. You're on a constant budget because, like, when inflation comes up and the CPI don't care numbers comes out, tell that to, a retiree in Canada how much inflation is going down. Because guess what's not going up is their purchasing power and their pension payouts. But guess what? Everything they buy is skyrocketing. So the concept of CPI coming in at low, and then see, I think what's come. Do you have Social Security, Bruce? Yeah, we have a Canada pension plan, and I'm not sure what it is because I don't have one. Right, I pay into it, but I don't have one. Like so, it's a long story, and I don't want to turn too many stones over because I feel like in a certain way I'm digitally digging my grave with some of the things I say on YouTube, because make no mistake, Canada is not going in a good direction. So a lot of things I'm saying or uncovering or revealing will probably be used against me, but it doesn't matter because I have go F yourself plans with Bitcoin. So it gives me the freedom. And that's what it's all about, right? So yeah, the number goes up and everyone cares. Oh my God. You see, like, I don't even know what it is Canadian. 167. I don't know what it is. I know that it's 118K US. Number goes up, excites, right? But I because money is some sort of abstract proxy for time and time storage. To me, it's the ultimate freedom provider. If you can walk, if you can say F off and somehow get the hell out of wherever you're going, that's the true freedom that Bitcoin provides. Now, Jesus, what was I talking about? Was I still going off about financial? I guess we could look at some more. There's an XRP ETF. XRP A11Y, you'd know, I guess. I thought I switched to the daily chart. What's going on here? Well, we do have this just in. Old Bobby Ross has a little more information about the denial of the crypto bill.
In the House, I believe. Let's get the details.
Hey, Kelly. So nice of you to have me on this glorious morning. So yes, this was just holding a procedural vote that would have led to the vote on 3 different crypto bills, and that procedural vote has unfortunately failed. Now, we should note, of course, here that rule was not just on crypto bills. It is also going to set up a vote for funding from the Defense Department. We are trying to learn more about why this bill went down, but jeepers, this definitely puts a wrinkle into House Republicans' plan to pass all these happy little crypto bills. You have to get process votes in place to actually move on to other votes. One of the members who did vote against the bill in relation to a central bank digital currency, Congresswoman Margie Green, actually tweeted this morning voicing some of her concerns that the bill, in relation to a central bank digital currency, she was concerned that the bills did not do enough to prevent that from being created by U.S. government, saying more oversight is needed. Of course, we will be speaking with these lawmakers who voted against this bill to better understand their concerns. But again, it's a huge wrinkle. There were a lot of folks in the crypto industry expecting those bills to pass who now have to figure out how and when that's going to happen. I mean, if it's going to happen. Anyways, hopefully they'll get to a happy little consensus and pass this motherfucking bill. Back to you, Kelly.
Now, I feel like that's a window into the future. That's an AI Bob Ross. If you don't know who Bob Ross is, well, you're missing out. Joy of painting. We grew up with joy of painting. Here's the funny thing about joy of painting. When we were little, playing, like Duke's age, You're going to be getting a lot more financial advice from Bob Ross, Wick's wife. Just letting you know. It was on at 3:00 on Saturdays, I think. I don't know. I could be wrong. On PBS. And no matter what the hell we were doing, we would stop. We'd be like, oh my God, Bob, Joy, a painting's on. And we would go and we would sit in front of our black and white TV in my parents' room, because that's where the TV was for some reason. And we sit there on their water bed and we would watch Bob Ross in silence. The reverence we felt for Bob Ross was amazing. That was I wasn't supposed to show you. This one, Bob. Okay.
Thanks, PMB. So just a wee little bit ago, we saw a key procedural vote go down after about a dozen Republicans voted against it. We're now hearing that their main concerns, remember there are 3 crypto bills, one of them is supposed to go to Trump's happy little desk this week. Trump said he wanted it, but some members are pushing back saying all 3 of those little dickens need to go together, and they're worried that if the one bill on stablecoin goes ahead to Donnie's desk, another bigger bill on market structure around digital assets, when is it a security, when is it a commodity, won't be able to get done. So it seems like there might be a little bit of disagreement about exactly how these bills should be passed. What we know is that Republican leadership right now, they're regrouping, they're talking with members, and so we expect to see potentially another vote as soon as later this afternoon. Remember, this is supposed to be Crypto Week on Capitol Hill, a big week for the industry, a big week for lawmakers pushing this. And there's concern that if they can't figure out how to go forward on this procedural vote, they won't be able to do the actual votes on the bill later this week. And well, that would be a shame, wouldn't it, Matty? And could hold up progress. So it's a bit of a tizzy here in Capitol Hill right now trying to salvage these darn tootin' crypto bills. But as always, I will keep you abreast and updated as we hear more Matty B. Have a good day, and God bless.
Thank you for keeping us abreast, Bobby Ross. Now, why I think that's a future into AI is that I think we'll have the ability to pick who we want to hear things from, whether it's singing or news or whatever. So that the dialogue is taken right from an actual, DC bird brain reporter, right? So I was like, well, what? So I was going to just play those videos. And I'm like, well, why am I playing this video? Nobody knows this bird brain. She's just like, thank you. And she's just a, reporter. The reporter might as well be Bob Ross. Right? See, the thing is, Army Piper says, I want my news done by Snoop Dogg. Here's the thing. I've tried Snoop Dogg. So this app I'm using, it will filter out what's known celebrities, so to speak. So a guy like Bob Ross kind of slips by, even I tried to use, who the hell did I try to use? What's his name? Max Kaiser. It recognized him as a celebrity. So I wasn't able to use it, but I was able to squeak by Bob Ross. However, there's no great pictures of Bob Ross, so I had to doctor it up. Anyway, moving forward, why not get your information from a genius like Bob Ross? Like, I mean, what are you going to do? Just listen.
And thanks, Sarah, and you look beautiful today. Well, lawmakers were hoping to be able to regroup and find a new way forward, move ahead this evening. But now they're all being told to head on home as a group of hardline lawmakers remain at an impasse with President Trump about how they should be moving these bills through again. A lot of these hard members, they really want to make sure that they're banning that dastardly central bank digital currency. They have a lot of concerns about the national security aspects, about personal safety aspects, and of course the draconian nature of it all. But at this point, Donnie so far has said that he still wants that happy little stable coin bill to come to the House this week, which means all 3 need to go separately instead of being combined. So Republican leadership will be meeting with a number of lawmakers as well as senators this afternoon. But it seems negotiations are going to have to go into tomorrow. Remember the crypto industry, they were really banking on getting these bills done. And now, well, seems like everything is up in the air until they can find a way. Anyways, you look great in case I didn't tell you before, and God bless.
Make sure you like and subscribe.